Hello, everyone. We are glad to have you all participate in our webinar today, from registrations to relationships. So, before we begin, I think we can wait for a couple of more minutes. We can already see a lot of people joining the event who are very excited for it. Just a few more minutes and then we'll get started. Just give me a thumbs up if you all are excited about this session. Give me a thumbs up. Let me see a few thumbs up here. Great. Wow, I can see a lot of thumbs up. Super. We are also excited about this. Just another minute, maybe. Why don't you all drop in the chat whether you have either organized an event or attended an event? We're curious to know. You can drop them in our chat boxes. All right. So I think we're kind of close to the session, and we can already see a few people who have responded. Okay, nice to know that some of you have organized events. That's really nice. Great. Samhita, so do we get started or another 1 minute? It's 11:01. Do we get started now or another or take another?
Yes, we can get started. Yes, I think we have decent number of attendees. We'll start. So, hi everyone. Welcome to this webinar on breakdown of a complete event from registrations to relationships. So, thank you for taking your time to join us today. We are very excited to present this session to you. So, today we are bringing together two tools, Zoho Forms and Zoho Backstage, which each play a very powerful role in event management. So both of them solve real problems that every event organizer faces, and we are going to show you how exactly they do using a real event scenario, right? So before we begin, I am Samhita from the Zoho Forms team, and we have Ranjita here from the Zoho Backstage team. Our support representatives will be moderating today's session, and they will help you with the Q&A towards the end of this session. So you can feel free while this session is going on to drop your questions in the chat. We'll reserve time at the end of the session to answer all of them. And a recording of this session will also be sent to you via email. And yes, so let's get started. We'll start with something that sounds familiar. All right. So we are all here today because we organize events, and we cannot deny that behind every event, there is a huge amount of manual work happening. It's dozens of forms and processes happening at different stages of the event. And you have registrations coming in, speaker applications to review, sponsor information to collect. RSVP confirmations may come from emails, chats, or even phone calls, and organizers have to spend their valuable time reconciling all this information instead of prepping for the actual event. So, on the day of the event, even zonal check ins are frequently handled manually. Teams work with printed lists or disconnected spreadsheets that make it difficult to track attendance and manage capacity across different zones or move the attendees through quickly. So every time the information has to be copied manually from one system to another, there's a good opportunity for something to go wrong. A registration may not make it to the attendee list, a VIP RSVP may not be updated before the event, a speaker's details may be submitted twice. And these may seem like very small issues on their own, but together they add up. They cost your team time, create extra effort, and in many cases, they cost revenue through missed registrations, low attendance, unhappy sponsors, or missed opportunities to engage with attendees after the event. So it's important that these stages be connected instead of managed separately. This is exactly what we're going to show you today. So in the next 30 minutes, uh, this is the agenda of the session. Here's what we'll accomplish. We'll break the entire session into 4 acts. The first is registrations. This is where every relationship begins. We'll build a registration experience that captures the right information, supports multiple attendee tiers, and manage RSVPs. Then next comes the experience. Once someone has registered, the focus shifts to engagement. We'll see how event day check-ins can be taken care of and the automations that help deliver a smooth attendee experience. So then we'll move to lead management. We'll show you how you can extend connections with your registrants, enabling a connected event experience instead of disconnected spreadsheets and manual updates. And finally, we arrive at conversions. An event shouldn't end when attendees walk out the door. So we'll help you give you a pipeline on how you can turn your registrants to actual customers. So to make today's webinar more practical, we are going to build everything around an event we are going to organize called Momentum 2026, which is a B2B user conference. So this year, we are expecting around 800 attendees in this event. We have 2 tiers, general and VIP tiers, registration tiers. We also need to onboard speakers, manage attendee RSVPs, coordinate check-ins on the event day. But there's another layer of complexity. Some attendees will also be invited to exclusive roundtable discussions or one-on-one sales meetings alongside the main conference. Those sessions have limited seats. So all of this is being managed by a small operations team. So the question becomes, how do you deliver a personalized experience for each registrant or attendee without creating more manual work? And throughout this session, there's an important mindset we all need to have. So events are an asset. You are building a process not just for this conference, you are building a repeatable event experience that your organization can use again and again. So whether your next event has 800 attendees or 8,000, the experience should scale without requiring 10 times the effort. So the decisions we are making today together, how you structure attendee tiers, manage RSVPs, automate communications, and capture data, become the foundation for every event that you're going to run in future. So let's begin with Act 1, which is registrations. Every relationship starts with a single interaction. For an event, that interaction is almost always the registration form. It does much more than collect names and email addresses. It sets expectation for your event, creates the attendee's first impression of you, and captures the information that powers everything that follows. That is why designing the registration experience carefully is very important. So for our event, Momentum 2026, we use Zoho Forms to set up the registration form. So let's explore what we can achieve by building a registration form with Zoho Forms. So we can set up different paths for general and VIP attendees. With conditional field rules in Zoho Forms, you can let attendees only see the fields relevant to the ticket type they've selected. For example, a general attendee doesn't need to answer VIP specific questions. This keeps the form shorter and much easier to complete. We can also choose multiple sessions of their choice only on the dates we are hosting them. We can let them, we can capture dietary preferences of your attendees and accessibility needs upfront so that your organizers can plan ahead with their own caterers and provide a better experience for every attendee. And then we can capture attendee information with built-in validations in Zoho Forms that help prevent incomplete or incorrectly formatted responses, which can reduce manual corrections later. And finally, as soon as someone registers, we can display a thank you page and send automated confirmation that's personalized to their registration via email, SMS, or even WhatsApp automatically. Whether they are a general attendee or a VIP, they'll receive the right message without anyone having to spend any time sending messages manually, right? So let's see this in action. We have Richard Johnson, who is registering for this event. He starts filling in his details, his name, email, phone. Richard selects the VIP tire and sees some fields pop up just for him, like hotel accommodation and preferences of diet. Next, he picks his preferred date from the available options and then selects the session he wants to attend. He indicates his preferred communication method, how he wants to hear from the event team going forward, and finally, he consents to photography and submits. So Richard sees a confirmation message personalized to him, and within seconds, he also gets a confirmation email that lands in his inbox. So that email is personalized with his specific registration details, um, ready for him to refer back to. So from Richard's side, the whole experience felt effortless. From your team's side, nothing was done manually. Not even a single email was written or sent by hand, and but still that looks personalized to the person who has registered. So that's the registration experience Zoho Forms makes possible. Now let's look at some more things that you can do with Zoho Forms to make your registrations even better. The registration experience for your respondents does not have to begin with typing, right? They don't have to type all the details. Attendees registering for corporate events often have their business cards ready. So instead of asking them to manually enter the information, we can let them simply upload a photo of their business card, right? Like you look at here, we can ask the attendee to upload their business card, and smart scan field in Zoho Forms can automatically extract that information from the image and populate the relevant fields in the form. So details like the attendee's name, company, business email, phone number, and designation can be filled in within seconds, making this process much faster, especially for professionals who are registering on their phones while they are on move. So this also ensures we have accurate contact information for follow-up communication and event engagement. And then we have one of the biggest challenges with event registration, which is managing limited capacity sessions. So when registrants choose a session in your form, they need to know if the seats are still available before they make a choice. So with Zoho Forms, as registrations come in, the available seat count updates. So those registering for your event always see the availability of each session, creating transparency. And for organizers, it eliminates oversubscription and the manual effort of tracking capacity or closing registrations in the last minute. It's a simple addition, but it significantly improves both the registration experience and event management. And here's another small detail that can make a huge difference. When someone registers for the event, one of the first things they'll want to know is, where do I go? So with Zoho Forms, you can embed the venue location directly inside the registration form as an interactive map. So the menu is now part of the form experience while they're registering. For an event like Momentum 2026 with 800 attendees, many of whom may be traveling from other cities, this is a small touch that removes a real friction point, right? So until now, we have focused on building the event registration form. But every event involves many more different interactions. You may need a speaker application form, a sponsor sign up form, a volunteer registration, an RSVP form, an event review form, a lot of forms. And each one has a different purpose. So each one should be designed differently. Now that's why Zoho Forms gives you the flexibility to build the right form for the right intent without writing a single line of code. So if you're starting from scratch, if you're building all your forms from scratch, Zoho Forms has over 50 field types. You can capture exactly the information you need, from file uploads and payments to signatures. You can customize the forms to match your organization's branding, so attendees experience your event and feel that the form is part of the event and not a generic third party form, right? So if you already know what your form is to do, simply give in a prompt, describe it in plain language. For example, you could say, create a sign up form for B2B conference with sponsorship tire selection, booth preferences, branding asset uploads, and company details. In AI forms, within Zoho Forms, generates your form in seconds, with giving you a great starting point that you can customize further, right? Or if you already have a registration form in the PDF format or as a printed paper that you've been using for years, instead of recreating that form field by field, simply upload it to Zoho Forms. And the form is automatically converted into a fully editable online form, helping you digitize existing forms in just a few clicks. And if you're looking for inspiration or want to get started even faster, Zoho Forms offers over 200 plus pre-designed templates. And now that your registration form is ready, you can redirect your registrants from the registration form directly to an RSVP form and automatically pre-fill it with the information they've already provided, right? For Momentum 2026, let me show how it looks like in real time. Yeah. So once someone registers, they're taken straight to the RSVP form when submitted. And this is where their details get pre-filled, the details that they've already provided during the submission of the registration form. And the whole thing just takes seconds. And your team has one more piece of information without having to chase registrants for RSVPs separately, right? And the same AI powered form builder can be used throughout the entire event lifecycle. So, speaker submissions are a great example where you're managing a conference like Momentum 2026. You're not just collecting speaker names and session titles. You'll have to run a review process for the submissions received and then approve or reject the speakers, right? With Zoho Forms, you can build a speaker application form that captures everything your committee needs to evaluate: the proposed topic, abstract, speaker bio, experience, and any supporting materials. And once submissions come in, they can go through a multi-level approval process directly from within Zoho Forms, where the approvers are notified. They can review responses and can approve or reject applications without a single email chain. This all works with just a form, and you do not have to email anything regarding the approvals, right? So this saves a lot of time when people, right, people are notified and approve your applications. Similarly, you can have another form for sponsors and exhibitors to submit their package selections, their booth preferences, and branding assets. So you can have a form for volunteer teams to register their availability, preferred t-shirts, shirt sizes, emergency contacts, and more. And after every session, feedback forms can help you collect ratings and comments while the experience is still fresh. Now, the important idea here is that every interaction during your event can be powered by a purpose built form, all managed from the same platform, which is Zoho Forms. So once all your events forms are ready, Zoho Forms gives you multiple ways to share that form, to publish that form across every touch point your audience already uses. So whether someone discovers your event on social media or scans a QR code at another event of yours, visits your website, or receives an email invitation, they can register instantly using the same form. And every submission into flows into one place, giving your team a consistent registration experience. So you have sharing options like sharing via QR codes, which are perfect for offline events, booths, and printed marketing materials. You can share registration links across your social media handles to reach a wider range of audience. You can send personalized emails and registration links directly to attendees, or you can even embed the registration form directly on your event website for a seamless branded experience, right? So now we found our audience, we captured their registrations, we gave them a place to sign up. So now how do you deliver an experience they'll remember? So over to you, Ranjita, who will show you how Zoho Backstage takes attendees from registration to remarkable experiences.
Thank you so much, Samhita. So I think with that, we come to the end of the first act, and now the second act begins, the experience, right? So when we think about event experience, the first immediate thought is usually the attendees. Did they like the event? Did they enjoy the sessions? Did they find the venue comfortable? All valid questions, not denying that. But event is an experience that is shared by different groups of people, right? There is not just one person there. There is the organizer who has spent months putting everything together. Then there are speakers, who need the right support to deliver their sessions. Then obviously we have the exhibitors or organizers who actually invest in your event and are expecting business value. So if you notice, it's not just one stakeholder in this event. There are a bunch of people, and everything is interconnected. The experience of one stakeholder feeds into the other. So that's how it is. If you miss even one, if you fail to deliver a good event experience to even one, stakeholder, everything kind of starts falling apart. It's like a domino effect. So we will look about that. Right. So imagine this. We were just talking about Momentum 26, right? So think already all that has been done. But what if it wasn't organized properly? What if the organizer hasn't organized it properly? Maybe the registration was confusing. Maybe the speaker information was missing. Uh, Maybe ticketing or the payments were very complicated. So or the check-ins were pretty long. I mean, the check-in took a long time. So the first person who gets affected by all of this is attendees. Yes. So when they see all of this, it kind of leaves them frustrated, disengaged. What happens next? They stop participating, and they become all quiet, or they even leave the session or maybe the venue early. Now look at what the exhibitors are going to feel. Not a lot of people around, empty conference halls, empty exhibition spaces. So yes, the obvious, the booth footfall is going to drop, and the event ROI, the kind of ROI they were expecting out of the event, now that is, it's going to disappoint them. When all of that happens, they will probably not return for the next event that you are going to be putting together. So altogether, you notice, right, how this is kind of a one single part that is disorganized kind of sets off the whole thing. It kind of pulls apart your event, which obviously you do not want because you have worked really hard for this. And that makes me ask the question, what can you do to prevent this domino effect? Well, it starts way before the event day. So before the event day, as organizers, you cover the basic things, which as any event marketer, even in the chats, some of you have dropped comments about how you have organized event. So you cover the basics. You fix the venue, the right kind of venue based on the kind of event that you do or your audience size. Like Momentum 26 that Samhita was talking about is supposed to bring in 800 attendees or so, right? So you fix the correct kind of venue, you bring in the right caterer, you have all kinds of, you design a menu based on the dietary requirements which you have collected through the registration form earlier, right, which Samhita did speak about. So you do all of that. Then there are the fundamentals which every event organizer need to get right. First, centralize everything. You cannot have registration data in one place, or the session information in another, maybe exhibitor information existing in a separate spreadsheet, or even ticketing and payment existing in another sphere altogether. You cannot have that. That brings me to the second point. So you build a professional branded event website. Every event needs to have a professional digital space, and that's how you do it. And you bring all of the things that I mentioned earlier together in one place. You simplify ticketing. Say Momentum 26 again, right? 800 people. Do you think it's all going to be the same kind of attendees? No, right? There are going to be different kind of attendees. Maybe this is someone from before, like this is some attendee who has attended your previous event who wants to walk in, and you can give them a special offer code, or your partners, or maybe the exhibitor has a plus one guest that they need to come. So you need to create promo codes, or promo codes, offer codes, or discounts, anything that will help the attendees to kind of quickly sign in, find it easier to do that, purchase the right tickets and walk into your event. And while you do that, you onboard your speakers, you onboard your exhibitors or sponsors, you start building an agenda. You do all of that simultaneously. And not to forget, now that you've worked so hard to build an event, you start promoting them, because obviously you cannot do all of it only to have the whole hall empty, right? So you do all of that. You start promoting your event via email or WhatsApp messages or your event website, all of that, everything, or banners, anything, or social media. You use every available platform to promote your event, spread the word, and get the people inside the venue. And now that you do, what about the attendees? We spoke about organizers. Now let's put ourselves in the shoes of attendees. As attendees, does it matter how many spreadsheets the organizer is juggling, or what the backend looks like? Does it matter really? No, right? So, exactly, that's what an attendee requires: simple things. So, first, smooth check in on the day of event. They don't want to stand in a queue that is not moving, or frantically searching their inboxes for confirmation email. They don't want any of that. Also, they need all information, at the tip of their hand. They need to know, even before they walk into your event, they need to know whether this is an event they would be interested in, what kind of speakers you're bringing in, what kind of value it's going to add to them, if they can take back anything from the event. They need to know all of it. What kind of tickets, how much am I paying, is the payment going to be safe? So they need to know all of that. So you need to give all this information very neatly, very clearly, upfront in one place. Then comes instant badges, right? On the day they walk in, you just quickly check in and you hand them the right kind of badge with which they can just simply walk into the venue. They don't have to stand there anxiously thinking if they're going to miss the keynote speech, or if they have to rush into the hall. Nope. You just need to simplify it for them. That's all they need, right? And once you do all of that and they walk into the room, the focus shifts. It shifts from what? It shifts from removing all this friction to actually creating engagement. So when they walk into the room, they need to, and when they are listening to the session, they need to feel like they are also participating, right? You have to do that. They can't simply sit quietly and just keep listening to someone talk, for an hour or more. They need to be able to say participate in polls, or ask a question, or basically make it interactive. They need to interact. And then they should be able to say if they liked a speaker, or if they liked a session, kind of give feedback. That's when you know that they are valued. And networking is a big part of any event. you will definitely know that any attendee who walks into your or walks into the room, walks into the venue, isn't there purely for content. They are there to meet people as well. So you need to enable these networking sessions where they find like-minded people or people with similar interests or similar backgrounds. You need to be able to do that. And once the event is over, the conversation can't go suddenly quiet. Okay, you cannot distance yourself. Like the as an attendee, it would be great if the organizer sent me emails telling, "Hey, this is the session recording. Why don't you check out?" Or, "Hey, here's a two-pager of what exactly we covered," or, "Here's a worksheet," or any kind of materials. So remember, if you do all of this, it's going to deliver a great event experience. This is kind of giving a very well-rounded experience. So next comes the stakeholder exhibitors. Now they are the ones who are investing in your event, exhibitor or sponsor, and booth is just the beginning. So what are their expectations? Now let's look at their expectations. Booth is an investment, and when they're doing that, they need to know where their booth is going to be, how big it is. They need to have visibility into the floor plan, based on which they can make their choices. Is it too close to exit? Is it too close to the entrance? Is it somewhere in between? So they can plan, they can envision their booth accordingly. So you have to give them that visibility. And if it's a virtual event, even then they should have the options of having digital booth presence, and take things forward. Then comes the important bit. They are putting up a booth for obvious reasons, ROI, right? And what if people walk in, they're interested, there are attendees who walk in and they express their interest to know more about this exhibitor's offering and all of that. After they walk out of the booth, you cannot have the exhibitor kind of search through pile of business cards seeing, "Hey, who was it who was interested in our offering?" You cannot have them confused. Not when 800,000 people are participating, or god knows, even more. Not even if it is just 100 people participating. You need to streamline that, and to do that you can probably give them this option of digitally collecting, capturing the leads and having it in a system which can later flow into their CRM or their funnels. And the exhibitors should have this kind of insight into the number of people who walked into their booths or people who inquired about the product. It will give them an idea how successful their booth was or even the event was. So that's what the exhibitors prefer. Then comes the speakers. Let's not forget them. They are here to come and deliver sessions, which is what the attendees are there to hear, right? So, what do they need? It's very simple. They need to be, they should be able to submit their headshot, their bio, any kind of AV requirements very easily, well ahead of time. Then they should be confident that the tech is in place so that they can focus on the one thing that they are there for, which is to deliver sessions. During the session as well, through the real time interaction tools, like I was talking about, how the attendees also need to participate, right? So the speakers need to know that, hey, my audience is actually listening to me. They are participating in polls. What kind of polls do I run? Oh, okay, so this is what they prefer. This is the choice of topic, or this is what they want me to delve further into. So they need to have that kind of insight. Then comes visibility, right? At the end of session, they need to know whether their session landed, whether as a speaker the audience enjoyed what they had to say. So all of that, very simple, straightforward. Once you do that, all of them are in place. So we just saw, right, how all of this is kind of connected. The experiences are all different, but the outcome is the same. So just as I said, every stakeholder's experience feeds the next one. There's the organizer, speaker, attendee, exhibitor, sponsor, all of them are interconnected. If like, you don't have the luxury to deliver the right experience to one stakeholder but ignore the other stakeholders. Because when you do that, you can see visually what's there happening, right? The domino effect. One thing topples, everything topples, and in the end, the domino effect kicks in, and you are left with a badly organized event where neither the attendees are happy nor the exhibitors. They may not come back again. Maybe the speakers also kind of frustrated, annoyed. But if you get them right, the event pays for itself. You will end up with happy attendees who probably walked into booths. The exhibitors are happy because their booths are like crowded, they're coming and they are inquiring. So everyone's happy. And as an organizer, nothing like having conducted or organized a successful event. I know most of you have probably felt that kind of ecstatic feeling of having accomplished an amazing event, right? So, yes, that's how you organize an event. Now, to tie everything together, let me introduce this new character. Not really new, but in our second act, this is the protagonist. This is Zoho backstage. Now, everything that I spoke about before the event, during the event, after the event, for organizers, for attendees, for speakers, for exhibitors, sponsor, you need to have everything on one platform, and this is what backstage does. So we saw how Samhita very neatly explained all that the forms does to build together that kind of an experience, right? Collect the right kind of information, which then flows into backstage, right? You can use Zoho Flow or something to kind of put in the information there, and using that you can build this further. You build your website with easy drag and drop website builder. You can have everything, the ticketing, like I mentioned, different tiers. You can have like early bird offer, or you can have a special promo code for a certain B2B community or anything. So you can build various ticket groups, classes, tiers, ticket tiers using on Zoho backstage. And then if you're running academic event, you can even collect abstract or using the same platform. You don't have to go ahead and email them separately, collect these papers and assign it to different reviewers. All of that happens seamlessly on one platform. Then comes floor planner and recall, right? Exhibitors, so they have this view into what booth, about booths. And also, as an organizer, you don't end up selling the same booth twice. And for the attendee, they can almost see the exhibitor lineup. So everything aligns perfectly. And on the event day as well, the check-in is like uh, barely 3 seconds to probably look into the QR code and have them checked in. There can be instant badge printing. And for any kind of hybrid or virtual events, there's also the option of webcasting and, of course, lead capture, which is a very important part that we did mention earlier, can be very easily managed by simply using the lead capture tool in Zoho Backstage, where the exhibitors can scan the QR code and immediately have all the information in the backend, which they later can flow into CRM and manage those contacts. AI powered networking is yet another fantastic way of having people find each other, and have interest based chat groups and all of that. And there can be a mobile app using which all of this can be done. Mobile app for organizers as well as the attendees. Then, like I said, the event does not end once on the event day. It kind of, your work goes on even beyond that event day. You look into analytics, see which sessions were the favorites, what kind of people turned up at your event, who were, what were their preferences. You get all kind of insights, which is going to probably help you plan the next event, enhance future event experiences. Then engagement toolkit, right? You send them presentations, PDFs, all of that, keep the conversation going. And you can even use certificate builders to automatically and instantly generate certificates and give it to them. It gives them that special sense of having done something or participated in something. Then there is AI powered gallery, which just adds a little bit of fun element to this whilst keeping them engaged, which is essentially they can just upload their picture and see, if that matches with any of the pictures in the event photo gallery, and kind of look it up and, just enjoy watching the pictures of themselves in the event gallery. Then comes WhatsApp messages. Like I said, you can even use WhatsApp to keep them engaged during as well as after the event. So all this is baked into one product, and we you kind of tie all the threads together and kind of ensure that you give a smooth and amazing, seamless event experience to every stakeholder, which I mentioned earlier, right? You can't end up making it look like an obstacle race or some kind of a Super Mario game where they have to jump through many obstacles to get to the goal. So yes, simplify it. Just remove chaos out of all this equations. So that brings me to the end of second act. Now over to Samhita for the third act. So yes.
Give me a moment before I share my screen. Yes. So, the most successful events are the ones that turn attendees into opportunities. You have all the data you need, and you can turn every piece of this information you have into your next opportunity. So, throughout the event, you have collected valuable information like the session preferences, the VIP selections, their dietary preferences, feedback, and the data you have collected shouldn't stay logged inside a form or be exported into spreadsheets. It should immediately reach the people who can act on it, right? So with Zoho Forms, every submission can be directly sent into your CRM, where it becomes a part of your sales and customer journey. So Zoho Forms has native integrations with both Zoho CRM and Begin by Zoho CRM. Zoho CRM is built for growing and enterprise teams with complex multi-stage processes. So every attendee becomes a lead, and your sales team can immediately see their session preferences, ticket tier, and engagement history all in one place. And if you're a smaller or growing team, Begin by Zoho CRM gives you everything you need to get started quickly with a simple, intuitive pipeline and a minimal setup required. So the moment Richard submits his registration, that information moves directly into your CRM as a new lead record, fully populated. And this automation matters more than it might seem, because that window between somebody expressing their interest and your team reaching out is very short. So whether your lead capture is an autopilot, or your sales team can focus on conversations and conversions instead of data entry. So for Momentum 2026, this means that by the time the event begins, your CRM already has 800 enriched lead records ready for your team to act on the moment the event ends. That's the difference between an event that generates a list and an event that generates a pipeline. So, in our upcoming webinar, we'll be focusing specifically on Zoho Forms and Begin by Zoho CRM integration, and how smaller teams and growing businesses can turn their event registrations directly into leads in detail. And now that we arrive at our final act, the conversions, right? Everything we have built up to this point, the registrations, the experience, the data, it all leads here, because the real measure of how a successful event isn't how many people showed up, it's how many of those people became something more, maybe a customer, a partner, a returning attendee. That's what this act is about. By the time Momentum 2026 ends, you have something incredibly valuable, a room full of people who already know who you are, have experienced what you do, and came because they were interested enough to show up. Now, the question is, what do you do with that? once the registrations are in your CRM, every follow up can be owned by your sales team while the event is still fresh in attendees' minds. That's the window, right? So here's what the pipeline looks like in practice. The moment Richard submits his registration, three things are already set in motion. First, Richard's record is created in the CRM and assigned to the right sales owner based on his tire, his session preference, his stated requirements. Second, the sales representatives plan follow up demos with Richard and other high intent leads. And third is nurture campaigns for leads who aren't ready to buy yet. They enter a sequence that keeps your brand present by sharing session recordings, resources, and relevant content that continues the conversation. So, because the best time to follow up is when attendees still remember you, and with this setup, you will never miss that window. So, let's take a step back and look at everything we have covered today. So, what started as a registration form becomes something much bigger. Registrations with Zoho forms, where every attendee interaction began, smart connected forms that captured the right information, supported multiple tires, managed capacity, and set the tone for the entire event experience. Experience where different stages of an event lifecycle are managed seamlessly with a single tool, Zoho Backstage. Now, a lot of you have been asking about why Zoho Forms if I already have Zoho Backstage. You can collect not just registrations, you can collect a lot of, you can build a lot of different forms for different kind of needs that you have for an event, not just the registration form like I mentioned before. And you have advanced forms here with a, I mean, I'm not able to cover all the advanced features of Zoho Forms in this particular session, but you can achieve a complete event journey by with Zoho Forms, and you can link Zoho Forms to Zoho Backstage using Zoho Flow. So you can push all this data from the that you're getting through forms to Zoho Backstage, right? So now you have leads where your event data found its purpose, and every registration sent directly to Zoho CRM or Begin turns into a list of attendees into a live pipeline your sales team could act on immediately. And then you have conversions where the event ended, but the relationship didn't. Automated sales and marketing workflows that keep the conversation going long after the venue has cleared out. So, this is the journey we built together today around Momentum 2026. But the real point is that this journey is repeatable. Every event you run from here can follow the same structure and get better each time. Right? So, before we open up for questions, we have a poll that will be open to you by Ranjita.
Yes, so here's a quick poll and let us know if why don't you just look into your screens and give us your answers. Okay, all right, let's keep the votes coming in. All right, maybe one more minute and then we'll get started. I mean, we'll kind of go to the next slide. All right, so I think we're done with the poll. We are very glad that we had you all here for our session. Now, uh, the question time. So, if any of you have questions, we have Gayatri from Zoho Backstage and we have Abhi from Zoho Forms to take your questions. So, these are our product experts. They are here to clear your doubts. So if you have any questions, please just go ahead. You can put them in our chat or put them under the questions tab. We are here to take your questions. So go ahead. I think some of you had already begun asking the questions in our chat boxes. So if you have anything else, Yes, that's right. Samhita, do you want Abhi to maybe answer any of this?
Um,
There's one that says how to use Zoho form.
okay. Yes, Abhishek, you can take that up.
So we have a question. Is it possible to use Zoho Backstage for an in-person event series? So, Gayatri, why don't you go ahead and take that question?
Hello. Uh, Hi there. This is Abhi from the technical team of Zoho Forms. So, Priya, as you have mentioned how to use Zoho Forms, right over here, if you're right now a prospect to Zoho Forms, you can log in into forms.zoho.in, and right over there, you will have a interface where you can create your own form. Okay, as well as you can modify the form that you have created. You can add multiple fields, you can add the themes that you wish to customize the form, and you can share it with your users to collect the data. In case if you want to have a demo for Zoho Forms to know more about the features, you can drop an email to support at zohoforms.com so that we can check on this and we will arrange a demo for you. Thank you.
Yes, and this is to answer Thomas's question regarding creating an in-person event series in Zoho One using Zoho Backstage. So yes, Thomas, you can create Zoho One events in Zoho in-person events in Zoho One, and you will need to create the event. And regarding the add-ons, if it's going to be paid ticketing for all these events, you will need to have an add-on attached to your event, and uh, only then will paid ticketing be possible for each of your events. And you can create the event, and you can attach the plans, the according plans for the per event license plans for each of these events, and you can proceed accordingly.
Okay, there's yet another question that says, can we customize the ticket ID format in Backstage? The current 19-digit format is too long to use as a quick reference. Gayatri, would you want to take that question?
Uh, yes, can you? Yes, I believe I'm audible now. Yes, you can customize the ticket ID. This feature is currently in beta, and you can set the format. You can set prefixes and suffixes to the ticket ID to give your custom formats, and you can use that for your attendee registrations.
Right. So some have of you have asked what's the difference between Zoho Forms and Zoho Survey. So Zoho Forms is for data collection that triggers actions like registrations, logistics, approvals, payments, and survey is for gathering and analyzing opinions at scale feedback like NPS research. So if you were to act on each response, you use forms. If you need to spot patterns across responses, you use survey. So that's the major difference.
Yes, thanks again, Thomas, for your question. And you can integrate with Zoho Analytics. So you can use you can use Google Tag Manager. You can use either Google Analytics as well. You can paste the code, the tracking code in it, or you can also use Zoho Analytics as well. I'll share the related help document in the question section.
Hi, Bhumika. We could also see a question from your end. I think we will have one of our experts get in touch with you specifically for this. So, do we have any other questions? I think we are most done with questions. I think we've taken as many questions as we could. So, okay, there's one more from James. Can we use Zoho Forms to pre-fill data for RSVP in Zoho Backstage? If yes, please elaborate and let me know if Zoho Flow is required for this step. Samhita and Abhi, would you be taking up this question? Samhita, you're on mute. Can you just
I'm
unmute
so
yourself?
sorry. That was a glitch. Yeah. For the form that I have shown, where you could redirect from a registration form to RSVP form, you can pre-fill data without Zoho Backstage or Zoho Flow. It works within forms with to pre-fill all your RSVP details there. But if you're asking about a specific RSVP thing on Zoho Backstage, and if you want the data to flow from the registration form you built on Zoho Forms to Zoho Backstage, yes, you will require Zoho Flow for that. I hope I'm clear, James. If that was not what you were looking forward to, you can raise your question again.
I think that almost brings us to the end of the session. So, Samhita, anything else that can be addressed right away, or can we?
Right. So there is one last question from Utkarsh. Zoho Forms can be used in Zoho Recruit also to fetch candidate details directly from the form. So we have a direct integration with Zoho Recruit where you can send the form details to Zoho Recruit, but not the other way around. To do it the other way around, you will need a Zoho Flow's help. Yes. So yeah, that was the last question I could see. I think we have answered as much as we could. So
Yeah.
we have some more webinars coming up next in series. We have Zoho Forms and Sites. We have Zoho Forms with Begin by Zoho CRM, as I mentioned earlier, and we have Zoho Backstage with Zoho Survey. These are the 3 webinars that are coming up in this series. So if you want to ask specifically for a demo, you can raise your requests by scanning the QR codes that you see on your screen here and directly request for a demo. So I'm keeping it on this slide for some time so that you can take your time and scan the QR codes on your screen.
All right, so you have the QR code, just whip up your phone, scan it, and send away the more requests. And I think one of you have requested how Backstage will work end to end. So perhaps you can go ahead and do that, or we will have one of our experts get in touch with you. So I guess that's it, right? So I hope you all had a good session. Just give us once again a small thumbs up to just show us that you have had your takeaways from this. Great to see many thumbs up coming up. Awesome, cool. So there you go. For anything else, get in touch with us. We'd be more than happy to answer your doubts. Take you through things and see how best we can help you with your forms and with your event experience. So have a great day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye bye. Have a nice day.